courtesy of other competitors, parents, we still need you to leave a clear pathway between the bleachers at all times. Bowlers, as a courtesy to other competitors, as you finish your games in blue lanes, please allow the player you're moving to time to complete their game before going to the bowlers area. Bowlers, a gentle reminder on your cell phones, they should be off at this time. Remember, flash photography is not allowed during tournament competition. Now, let's give these final bowlers a huge round of applause as they begin the bowling competition. Bowlers, your arrows are up. You may begin tournament play now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to USA Bowl. The final advancers round is underway. The top 64 bowlers now competing here 5 additional games before we cut the field again to the top 16 who will begin match play. First couple rounds will take place tonight at 7:30 p.m. And because of that, because of today, tonight, and tomorrow, a very special guest has been kind enough to join us, someone who knows a lot about not only this event, this division, and what these players are going through, and that is Wesley Lowe. Wes, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you.
I'm going to watch a lot of bowling.
Yes, we
a lot of emotions and nerves coming through here in the next couple of games for sure.
So Wes will be with us courtesy of Brands of Ebonite International. It's our sponsor of the Junior Gold Championships. Be sure to check out our other live streams, of course, as well. U15 boys and girls going on at AMF Spare Time. And U12 boys and girls, they're into match play actually already. And be sure to check them out. All on Bowl TV. Again, Bowl TV, we've got plenty of channels for you. The final advances round of the U20 girls as well. They too are being live streamed on Bowl TV. All right, just underway. As you can see, if you joined us before, of course, and we talked about the fields being cut. Well, now we went from 2 to 4 on a pair. Or excuse me, 8 to 4 on a pair.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at here. So game 1 of 5, and I'll start, Wes, by asking, you hinted at it when we opened up the broadcast, the emotions and what's going on. What are these bowlers looking like? What are they feeling like right now?
There's 5 games left of this tournament for a lot of these bowlers, and some of them are chasing a number. Some of them are chasing the number for the cut. Some are chasing the number for a Team USA spot. So, you know, every pin matters, and you've already bowled, what, 21 games now at this point. So, you know, this is your last 5. You try to make it count and see what happens. And everyone copes differently, but some of these guys are probably nervous, and some of these guys don't even want to talk to anybody. But at the end of the day, hopefully it will be rewarding for a bunch of these guys. It's also a pretty elite field. I mean, 64, this is like the elite 64, you know, cut down after bowling against 1,000 bowlers that you've already bowled against. And to be here is already gratifying enough for a lot of these guys.
It is, actually. I was thinking about that during the advances round this morning, how, you know, we went from 214 to 64. And generally, you know, 64 in a sports terminology is generally a pretty elite number with March Madness and different things like that. So I think you're right, absolutely. Of course, the astute player that you are, I want to get your thoughts on what we might be bowling on here, of course. The players have no idea. We have no idea. And the patterns will not be released until the conclusion of the event. So, but early on, we saw players, from a right-handed perspective, you know, play right, seem to have some decent, really good looks for some players. Transition maybe kind of seemed a little iffy, but that didn't really stop Michael Martell. One, because he's really cool and good at what he does.
Yes,
sir. and two, there actually were a few lefties earlier today. So you know, he didn't have to the by himself situation, but early looks at from what you saw in practice and to a couple frames in, what do you thinking the pattern might be or look like distance-wise?
Yeah, so I saw a lot of urethane being thrown down the lane, and I saw a lot of people trying to play like, you know, second, third arrow, but for some reason, whatever this pattern may be that, you know, Nick Hoagland designed, it seems a little shorter, and it seems a little bit higher volume because there's not a lot of urethane going down the lane. So I'm thinking maybe like 38 feet, a little flat, because I mean there are balls that are hooking and there are balls that are air-mailed right now. So I think it's around that range. I'm probably way off, but that's just by looking, that's what I see. And you know, the left side's gonna be interesting. Martell has bowled phenomenal all week, and there's quite a few lefties in this 64 group. Just within our pair, I already see, I think, 3 of them. So if he's following any of them, he will have transition for the day too.
All right, Chad Steven, Christian Lopez, Ryan Burton, and Ryan Winters on 29 and 30. Michael Martell, Mitchell Russinick, Justin O'Shaughnessy, and Stephen Faulkner on 27 and 28.
Ryan's actually a member of Team USA this year, and so is Michael Martell.
Indeed. To their right is Kenneth McFalls. He's part of the program as well. People have been asking about Kenneth McFalls all day. So my first thought is Kenneth McFalls. He's two outright on 31 and 32. And this is the second time he's kind of been within our range or distance to see him just the slightest bit. Of course, he came into today leading prior to this morning's advancers round. But Michael Martell actually said, well, I'm going to see your lead and kind of raise you a little bit. And Martell went 248, 228, 279, 248, 227. That was his 5-game block this morning. Justin O'Shaughnessy went 150, 244, 236, 202, 243, the second high block of the day. Or excuse me, not the second high block, but to move into second. Top 5, Chad Steven is third. Ryan Burton is fourth. Kenneth McFalls went from first to fifth. And for the day he had, I think he's probably okay with being in fifth.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you handle those kind of things? If you come into an event leading or whatever the situation is, if you didn't bowl the best or the block wasn't as good as you certainly would have hoped, you know, to only lose a few spots, lose a little ground. Now, how good is that for you mentally?
For me, and I think I can speak for a lot of bowlers, it's not bad actually. It's gratifying because you went from first to fifth. You kind of paced yourself. You didn't bowl well, but you didn't drop yourself out. Where now you're trying to chase the number. He's still within the top 4. I think he can still make Team USA, and I know a lot of these bowlers, that's their goal, especially him. He wants to return again, and I think he should be pretty content with that.
In the booth with Wesley Lowe. From a standings perspective, folks, they're working on getting those posted. So, of course, the world can see, but the top 64 have been verified and confirmed. And so this is what we have. We know the leader. We actually know who also, or I do.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Kenneth's scores, yeah.
I know who was 64th, and that was Jorge Rodriguez Rosas. The cut score was plus 50. And ended up going up not as much as we thought. I'm so terrible at cut projection. And so it was 27 when we entered the day. And I didn't want to get ahead of myself. So I'm like, oh, 70, 80. But I was like, man, that seems kind of high. But it ended up being plus 50.
I was telling some buddies that I thought it was going to be around even. The scores looked a little high, but I didn't think, 212 bowlers, they're going to fluctuate. Some guys are going to crush them. Some guys are going to kind of bowl bad just based off the pattern and didn't favor them so much. And I actually thought it was going to be even, so it actually surprised me to see it went up an extra 27 pins or so, whatever it was, to get to 50, which shocked me.
Yeah, you were right. I mean, that's what we watched, of course, all day. We started with strings, ended with strings, but there were some times in the middle where there were some tough games from everybody. Nice shot there from Ryan Winters. Like, Ryan's a young man who's really made that leap, if you will. When you see all the hard work start to pay off to make junior team, he's been bowling very well for his collegiate team, Wisconsin Whitewater. When you watch your fellow peers kind of grow and kind of take those leaps like you did, how does that make you feel? And what type of advice do you kind of give young players when they're looking to make that type of leap?
That's a good question. There's a lot of things you have to tell them or try to give them for advice, and I think one of the things I say, and it might be a little different, but it's to still be yourself and know your true self. Like, even if you make the top 16 at junior gold, you still have a lot of hard work that has to come in the next year to do better that next year at junior gold. So whether it's junior gold or the collegiate ranks, be yourself and know where you came from, because that will keep you humble, that will keep you ready to move on, and you can't get ahead of yourself, especially as you said, for me, these are my fellow competitors, at least collegiate bowling and soon to be future in the pros. They're going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to work, and you got to try to keep up with them. And I think that's the big thing for a lot of these guys, is to continue to put in the hard work.
Hard work certainly pays off when you put it in.
And it showed for Ryan. I think if Ryan today makes the top 16, it'd be 3 years in a row that he's in the top 16 at junior gold, and that's no small task by any means.
No, that's been the kind of the magic number really since junior gold was created. It seemed to be, although the format has changed. How about that? You know a little something about that.
A two-handed lefty.
Sending messengers over to 7 pins.
Yep, tomahawking them.
The format's changed slightly over the years, but the top 16 still has been that number to where you're in the finals essentially if you're in the top 16. Now, obviously with the advent of match play, then there's a bracket portion that then takes over, but if you made the top 16, there was round robin match play back in the day, and not the bracket.
That was my first tournament. Yeah. They used that format. My very first tournament was the last time they used it. I think if I remember correctly, it was 6 games across 3 days and cut to the top 200 or so, and you got 6 more games for advancers, 6 more games for final advancers round, and then it was 16 games round robin match play. That was a format for you. 42 games by the end of it. Man, those bowlers in the top 16's hands probably blown up quick.
On the standings perspective, they will upload as soon as they can. They are working on it, folks. I actually only have a portion of the standings. I've got essentially the top 10, really the top 16 actually, and then from 64 through about 59.
What's the top 16? What's the 16th place person at right now?
16th place is let's see. That is, there's a tie for 16th at 44.09, which would be, how many games have they bowled? 22? Oh, you said 21, right?
21, yeah. 16 plus the 5 this morning.
That can't be right. What did I say, 42 or 44?
44, I think. That would make a little bit of sense.
That was what I was saying. Yeah, so that would be plus 209.
Okay. Wow, the scores are high over this year. I think I've bowled this tournament for 7 years, and I don't think I don't think the 16th place going into this last round has ever been that high.
Tom Hankey is in the field. Not sure what place he is currently in, where he's at, but I do see him. He is bowling. And he has advanced to the final advancers round. Rounding out the top 16, we're going to go through it again. Michael Martell leading the way now with a good block of 47.63, and he's got a little bit of a lead. Actually on second at 45.98.
Oh, wow.
Now, of course, pins drop when match play begins, so you can only enjoy it really for another 5 games if that's the case. But he's focused on obviously getting to the top 16 as opposed to leading the after 26. But as you mentioned, automatic bids and such for Junior Team USA on the line still, so there is still a lot to bowl for in that sense. Justin O'Shaughnessy, who is on 27 and 28 as well, 45.98. In third, again, Chad Stephen, 45.46. Ryan Burton, 45.36. Kenan McFalls, fifth, 45.23. In sixth place, Bryce Oliver at 45.02. Anthony Nyer is in seventh at 44.84. Bryce France in 8th at 44.81. David Hooper, who finished second to Wesley Lowe last year in 2017. He is 9th currently at 44.55. Hayden Stipich shot 279. He had the front 9, I believe, in game 4 or 5 this morning. Game 4 followed it up with 255 to get to 44.37. Many people asked about Gage Stelling earlier. He is 11th. Zach Mitchell 13th. Tiger Miller is 14th. Jeffrey Mann is in 15th.
That's another good bowler right there, Jeffrey Mann.
And Brent Boho and Tyrell Ingalls tied for 16th at the moment.
So I'm a numbers guy. What do you think the number? You already said you're not going to guess it right, but what do you think the number might get to? Based off of the first 6 to 8 frames that we've seen so far.
I mean, let's see. Honestly, I've seen less strikes than we saw this morning.
Me too.
Through 8 frames. So, you know, it's all going to be different in a sense. Less bowlers on each pair. Just ran the lanes again as well, re-oil. I'm going to say 16th is 44.09. Plus 209. I'm going to say, man. See, this is where I get in trouble. Like my first thought was to say plus 300. I don't think that's out the question.
They look pretty hard compared to this morning. Yeah.
Why? I won't say why, but how does someone, you know, kind of combat that when you know, they just bowled, so they know what it was like this morning, and they probably know now. Ooh, man, it's a little different. I'm gonna have to potentially make some changes. I mean, how do you go about that?
I think you just use your 10 minutes of practice, and you have an open mind about what's going to happen. You know, you're not going to see the same pattern. I mean, it might be similar, but it won't be the same. And you just come in with open mind, 10 minutes of practice. You go with a practice plan of trying to figure out where you need to play for the rest of the day, and you go from there. I think that would be the best way to go about it right now, just because you knew they were hard, or they were easy this morning. Now that you're seeing they're a little harder, you got to just think that anything can happen at this point, and you can do something different. Ooh. I'm gonna go with plus 170.
Plus 170.
I think the number will drop. I hope I'm allowed to say that, but I think the number will drop a little bit. They do look much tougher than this morning.
All right, we got plus 170. I've said plus 300. So we can tell who still bowls in his life and who doesn't. Who thinks, you know, we're going to continue to see high scores, but no, undoubtedly, honestly, in game 1 this morning, you know, at least 4 people had the front 6.
Yep. Yeah.
couple people got to 7. But we saw some, like I said, Hayden Stippich had the front 9 earlier. Had some folks on 290 paces late into games.
Anyone shoot 300 this morning?
No 300s this morning. Hayden was the closest to having that chance. I think we've only had 4 300s total so far.
The one girl, I think her name was Karen Peters, shot 803.
She just shot 803, open up the tournament. In fact, Monday was a grand day for scores. We had 803 from Cameron, and then we had Gabe Alvarez shot the first 300 of the tournament of junior gold in this building.
Okay.
There were a few scores that came out of the USA Bowl that day. Some couple 980s, a 960, if I recall correctly. I think Kenan McFalls shot 300 at Garland. And I think D.L. Bernard, I forgot where he shot 300, but we had 3 on Monday.
Just to open up the day.
Yeah.
That is absolutely nuts.
So Wes, give the folks an idea of what you've been doing this week. Of course, with the Brands of Ebonite International, sponsor of Junior Gold, but I feel like we've seen each other a lot this week, and we started almost a week ago at this point with the Junior Gold live trade show. But what's been going on, and what have you been doing with EBI?
Oh, nice spare.
Absolutely.
240-10. So I'm here with Ebonite International, and the very first day we had the Ebonite demo over at, I believe it was Garland Lanes, AMF Garland Lanes. We got to demo some of the brand new bowling balls. The younger kids got to see what's going to be out there. A couple of actually balls that even I haven't heard of yet, and they got to throw them. I hope a lot of them enjoyed them. We got some positive feedback about the bowling balls. The next day, let's see if I have this right, but we had the open registration, right?
Yep.
We had registration, and you, I, Jason Thomas, Mike Flanagan, Matt Russo, Marissa Thomas.
Yep.
Let's see, Kyle Sherman and Corey Ruiz. We had the Ebonite 365 live, and it looked like we were at a trade show basically, and we got to interview a bunch of young kids and ask them about their thoughts about this week, and we got to see some different perspectives from our DSMs and the people of Ebonite International. Got to play some games.
Fun games too.
Yeah, we played Family Feud. That was pretty fun. And it was surprising that the pros even didn't know some of the answers, like you would think. Because
I was shocked.
Really? Yeah, exactly. Like you would think, man, these guys, they're bowling junkies too. They would know all the answers, and no, the 2 families we had that played them basically beat them. They almost did. It was like a tie, and then they basically beat them in the final round. I don't remember what it's called. I wish I watched more Family Feud.
The bonus round.
The bonus round. Yeah.
Or it's Fast Money is actually what it's really called on the show.
Gotcha.
First of all, you need to watch more Family Feud.
Yeah.
We need to change that.
I like to watch on YouTube when like Steve Harvey reactions. That's my favorite. When someone gives like a answer that he just thinks is absolutely absurd, that's my favorite of all time.
I do enjoy those, I can't lie.
But yeah, so we were there all day, and just a lot of people we met. It was great, and we closed the show. We finished registration. The next day we had like a day in the park with the Ebonite pros right in front of the American Airlines Arena. It was fun. A lot of kids played. It was like 110 degrees outside. It felt
warm.
like, yeah. But there's a dunk tank. You dunk your favorite pro. I got in there. I think everyone had a hit for me. Yeah. I think there was like 5 in a row, and out of like 50 people, half of them all dunked me.
You're a marked man, bro.
Yeah, I guess there's not too many people fond of me, but the kids enjoyed it. There's basketball. We played a lot of cornhole. And, it was just a good time. Oh, and Jenga. And it was a good time. The kids got to meet their favorite pros right before the opening ceremonies. And then opening ceremonies happened. We were there. We watched it. I think Light Sense. That was the name, right?
Light Balance.
Light Balance. That was a cool show.
I was very impressed.
What they can do, and I heard it's like heavy material that they're wearing too for the lights.
It looked heavy. Like obviously they've got to be able to do what they have to do from a show. And folks, if you haven't seen it, it is available on Bowl TV, the archive version. I would encourage you to check it out. If you don't want to watch the full show, I would understand. But their performance is amazing. And you may have seen them. I think they were on the Britain's version of America's Got Talent and won the competition. And I certainly understood why after watching them.
Yeah.
In full performance mode. We got to watch them earlier that day in rehearsal, but the lights weren't off. And so it's just a completely different feel once the lights are off and they're doing their thing, they're lit, and no pun intended. I know that's what the kids say these days.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah, so after that, myself, Clara Guerrero, and Mike Snellbecker, we've been in AMF De Soto. We got to watch the U20 girls, U15 boys, and I believe it was the U12 girls bowl for the last 4 days. And we had what we call the Ebonite Chill Spot. So you got anybody that was bowling could come in there and they could play some cornhole with myself or Clara, and they can win a prize from Ebonite International. And it was a lot of fun, you know. Got to meet a lot of younger kids, like it's crazy. I say I'm old, but I'm not really that old. But to see some of these people that are bowling the tournament, I've never seen them before, and it's awesome to see new faces as well, because it's helping grow the sport, it's helping grow this tournament. But the Ebonite Chill Spot, it ended up being like kind of like babysitting, because whenever the U20 girls or the U15 boys were bowling, their siblings would be there, and they'd be playing cornhole. they'd be in the charging station. They all had fun. So it was almost like babysitting and then playing games with a lot of the players. But when we had that downtime, you know, I went out to watch a lot of the U15 boys and the U20 girls. It's impressive how good they are. It's impressive how much this game has changed over time and how this younger generation is already kicking butt early on.
Ryan Winters looks like he has made the move. After struggling a little bit earlier in this game. Made the 2-8-10, if I recall correctly, and then punches out. So that's gotta give a little vote of confidence as he moves forward. 221 from Ryan Bird, Chad Steven 171, Christian Lopez 181. Already through one game here on 29 and 30. Meanwhile, Michael Martell and Justin O'Shaughnessy stepping up here. It's O'Shaughnessy. He'll go first on the lane 28. Oh, that looked pretty good.
It's got a little bit of fan club behind us.
From Michigan, sporting the MJMA shirt. We're talking about scholarship tours earlier this morning.
Did you have a scholarship tour when you were bowling as juniors?
I did. I was telling the viewers that I was a little late to the party and kind of understanding how much was available to bowl. But Illinois, which is the state I'm from Chicago, Illinois had one. I would frequent Iowa and pretty much all the Midwest. Iowa, Wisconsin, I had a great one at the time as well. And those were our main three that we would go to when we weren't bowling collegiately. It was much easier to do when you're not bowling collegiately, I learned.
Yes.
But that's what we would do when we had a free weekend. We'd hop in the car. And of course, from Missouri, which is where I went to school in that state, it was a much quicker drive to Iowa in many instances, so we would frequent Iowa a lot. Nice shot there from Mitchell Rusnick. We already talked about lefties. There's two on this pair.
Two different games too. It's two different styles, and they're playing. They seem like they're playing very similar lines. So, like I said, I think my idea of being shorter and, you know, lower scoring would probably be the right idea.
Well, I would trust you.
I hope.
I certainly would trust me in that situation. I mean, I'm already on the board at plus 300. I mean, we might as well queue up Steve Harvey for me right now.
Just give you the look.
Yep, because what I said was,
Yeah, they could open up, though. I mean, they got some new guys coming in. They got 224 on the board, 212.
I expected them to open up a little bit more earlier, but, yeah, we only bowled 5 games.
That's true.
So, okay, first one in the 10th for Justin. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. It's 24810 that Ryan Peters picked up.
Oh, there we go. We got another two-handed lefty on this pair.
Gage Stelling's been popular. In fact, I think this is the first time, including this morning's round, that we've had Gage on. Oh, maybe not. He might have been on 27, 28 early. Nonetheless, he's on. It's TJ Rock. Slipped a little bit there at the line. TJ, one of the, as you can say about almost all of these players, such a talented young player. It's almost like cliche at an event like this because everyone is a talented and young player, but you start to see certain players, and I think you said it a little bit earlier when you said, hey, just watching some of the U15 and the U20s, I think it's a little different for you watching it from that perspective after someone was saying that about you just a few years ago. What's that part like?
It's so different. Like I said, I don't think I'm that old.
But you're not.
I just turned 21, so I'm only a year removed from this event, and everyone comes up to me and they still think I'm a bowler. They just say, "How'd you bowl this week?"
At the trade show. Yeah. I forgot that you weren't in the tournament anymore.
Yep, and so everyone's everyone's been saying that, but it's different because these guys are the next generation, and the guys that soon probably be kicking my butt as well. And to see how talented they already are in the next couple of years when they get into college bowling and their college coaches is helping them become better bowlers and learn more, it's going to be incredible what we're going to see.
Martell finishes with a 196. Nice shot there from TJ Rock. That doesn't fall. So Mitchell Rusnick will be in the 190s as well with a spare. There's Gage Stelling. Game 2, 29-30. They're already underway.
I think I have this ball right, but it looks like a blue hammer. And you know what? That blue hammer, this doesn't look like a remake that Gage is throwing. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, it's an original. It's older than everybody in this field, including me.
Probably me too, honestly. I'm only 34. It's funny, I don't remember who it was, but we were watching USA Bowling. And one of the team members, I commented that the ball he was throwing looked like an original blue hammer. I wasn't sure, got to confirm it. He was also left-handed. Okay. I said, when lefties get original blue hammers, generally good things happen.
Yes.
And just by historical perspectives, of course, Brett Wolf comes to mind, for example.
That's the exact name I was thinking of too.
Did you have a ball? Do you have a blue hammer? Did you have one back in the day?
I had a blue nail or navy nail.
Okay.
I have a couple of black hammers I have stored. They're not brand new, but they're plugged. They look kind of nice, but
you've accumulated.
Yeah, I've kind of stored and stashed, hoarded, if you could say. But the nail is the only one I get really thrown. I really like urethane. Don't get me wrong, but it's hard sometimes when we're not bowling on the shorter patterns or the ones that kind of give you a little bit to the left. I have a hard time, especially with my speed, to be able to throw those kind of bowling balls.
You bring up a great point. I'm going to ask you about it in just a second as we recap what's going on. If you're just joining us, you're watching the final advances round the U20 Boys Division here at USA Bowl, part of the Junior Gold Championships 2018. Emil Williams Jr. along with Wesley Lowe. Wes, can't call him the defending champ because he couldn't compete. He aged out, so
grandpa now.
He wasn't going to have the opportunity to successfully defend his title, but he is the 2017 U20 champion. Second time that he has won a title here in the same division, right?
Yes, U20 both times, yep.
U20, and you won that at what age again?
I believe I was 16 years old. It was the first time, so I bowled the U15 division. The next year I had not age eligible for it, so I bowled the U20 division, and that first year I was able to win.
Do you recall what the first one felt like?
Maybe, probably not so much. I got a Facebook memories telling me that I had won like on that day yesterday, and it was like 5 years ago. But no, like I know my goal had been to try to win it a second time, but to remember that day, I think I was on cloud 9. I was to the point where like I didn't even know what was happening then. So I don't think if I knew then what was going on, I don't think I could tell you 5 years later what happened. I just remember like finishing the event. And like I shook Ryan's hand, and I see a video of it, but I remember what happened after. Someone told me you gotta go say or thank your parents, thank mom and dad, and like the settings was a little different where my parents were in the back behind the bleachers, and I was like, oh okay, because like it was my first time winning that, so I didn't know what I should have done, and I went back there and shook my dad's hand, gave my mom a hug, and you know that's the small thing I remember the most about it. If you ask me what I shot or what balls I threw, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you right now.
Hey, that's actually interesting because a lot of times, you know, if we can refer back to something that was that we won or whatever, we can always kind of spout off what ball we threw and those kind of things. But that's an interesting situation. But what that means is obviously one of these players will end up being the U20 champion in 2018. We're moving right along already into game number 2. Let me just check what we have going on. Any questions? I'm sure we'll have a ton. You don't mind answering any questions, right, Wes?
Ask me anything. Well, maybe not. I shouldn't say anything.
I was going to say.
That's a broad term right there.
Let me help guide you through this.
That's Pandora's box.
Let me help guide you through this is a young Jedi mind trick type of thing we're about to do. But in all seriousness, good questions for Wes. We appreciate that. And we'll be here. Wes will be here tonight and tomorrow, actually, for match play as well. And then we both will skedaddle onto the International Training and Research Center tomorrow to catch up on the U15, U20 TV shows. Don't forget, we also have other streams ongoing. So if you want to check out what's happening in U12 and U15, U15 boys and girls, the final advancers round is going on right now. It's at Forum Lanes in Grand Prairie, Texas. The U12 boys and girls match play rounds 1 and 2 is underway. That is over at AMF Spare Time. And then the U20 girls final advancers round is also ongoing at AMF Richardson. Jason Thomas is there. Aaron Smith has the U15 coverage. Matt Canizaro. I believe Aaron is with Ronnie Russell.
Yeah.
Okay, right?
That sounds about right.
Well, Aaron and Ronnie Russell. So we've got USBC and EBI. We're collaborating all throughout the week. Myself and Wes here, and then Matt and Jason Couch have the U12. I don't know who's with Jason Thomas. Did we leave him by himself? We didn't do that, right?
I think it's Mike Flanagan. He sent me a picture.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just there hanging out, but he sent me a picture and he's like, "Have fun, dude." Good guy. I like Mike.
All right, we're into game 2.
All right, there's another lefty right here on lane 27. Two-handed lefty. There's some power to that shot.
Cameron Crowe, he had a couple of followers in the chat room earlier. He does have some power. Tall. Let me ask you, how did you kind of generate power, and how did you incorporate the two-handed style? Because I'm not going to say, but we all know that there's various opinions, of course, about it, but it's not going away.
No.
But I'm curious as to how you got to that point. How did you develop the style? And then, I assume you had some success, and you said, well, this might not be too bad after all.
You know, I don't even think it was success. So my story, it could sound cliche a little, but it's like Belmo's.
Okay.
My dad was a bowler. He bowled 3 leagues a night when I was born. He had me in a car seat. He put me in the back of the bowling center, like where I can watch and the people can take care of me. And I just started watching bowling. So when I turned about 2 years old, my dad he was like, "Hey, let's go bowling, I guess." So he had me push a 6-pound ball down the lane, and I mean, I'm not a very big guy right now, but as a baby, I wasn't very big, so the ball probably weighed more than me. Well, not 6 pounds, but it was too heavy to throw down the lane with one hand, so I shoved it down the lane and had some bumpers, and it got it down the lane. By the time I turned about 2.5, 3 years old, around that range, my dad wanted me to like join a bowling league, and the youth director, her name is Diane Tomlin. She, bless her heart, she is the sweetest lady ever, and she's one of the reasons why I'm able to do what I'm doing now. She said, if you can make the ball down the lane by yourself without a parent's guidance, you can bowl. And the way I did it was shoving it down the lane, and somehow, not sure, because dad was neutral. He said you could bowl one-handed, two-handed. I started bowling lefty two-handed, and as I got bigger, I just continued doing it that way. It never switched, and I never went away from the two-handed idea. Ooh. And this was before, we knew who Jason Belmonte was, or Oscu, and now there's a bunch of other two-handers out there, but that's kind of how I started. And as I got bigger, I continued throwing two hands. None of my coaches ever told me this is the wrong way, even though they didn't know how necessarily to coach me. They just said, this wasn't the wrong way, and this is okay and acceptable. And to your question about how to generate speed, like I said, I'm not very big. And when I was in high school, I was a freshman. I weighed 85 pounds. I remember that because I wrestled in the 96 weight class. So I was 10 pounds underweight, and I never had to cut weight.
So you're a little scrappy.
So the only way to generate speed was like through my legs and my core, because I had no upper body strength. I didn't have enough to try to shove it down the lane. And so I made my legs a little stronger, my core got stronger, and that's the way I was generating ball speed. And it was the only way I knew how to. Now I think I throw it just a little bit too fast because of that. I might have hurt myself, but I'll figure it out eventually.
Joined in the booth by Wesley Lowe, of course. This is game 2. That's a good story. I think one that I certainly didn't know. And you may have informed some of the other viewers as well. Folks, just to update you from a score perspective, they're working on it. So you know what I know, and when I know it, you will know. That's what I can get for you right now. Had a question. I saw a question about Reginald Petty. I will find that out for you when I get a chance there, big time. Thanks, Long Island Youth Bowling Tour, by the way, for tuning in.
We got some scores going on in this pair, or on the two pairs that we're watching. Gage can punch out for 230. TJ or Terrence can punch out also for 230. Briley has, I believe that's 250. And Jonah also can punch for 250. They might have opened up. 300 over could be the number.
Well, it's weird, but the atmosphere seems to be more of a comfortable environment. And what I mean by that is, there's the brief ending, or the quick ending of round 1, or I'm sorry, not round 1, the advances round this morning. And then did I make it, did I not? Right, so there's all this anxiety. And I got to go get something to eat real quick and all of this. And then, okay, they re-oiled the lanes. Oh, man, what did I do earlier today? Right, and then now they've got a game underneath the belt, and it just seems like a little bit more fluid, more comfy, coming off the hand good. That's not the case for everyone, but it just kind of feels like, ooh, okay, things are calmed down.
We can relax a little, take a deep breath, and be ready to go again.
Do you feel like, has that happened to you before in the past? Like you kind of amped up a little bit after a round of bowling?
I think after every round at this tournament, I'm always amped up. High anxiety all the time.
It's high energy. I mean, there's a lot on the line.
Yes, and short turnarounds too. I think the bowlers only had about an hour and a half to get lunch and mentally prepare themselves for this next round. I mean, it looks like these guys did it pretty well to be able to be here on time and ready to go. It's tough though. Again, like we talked about this morning being a little easier, and now it seems a little bit tougher than it was this morning. To be able to get your mind in the right place and be able to bowl on this tougher pattern is tough for these guys. Could be easy for some, but I would assume that it's tougher for them.
We'll get to your questions for Wes in just a sec as we watch
Good ball right there.
TJ rock. I'm trying to remember the first time I saw TJ, but it might have been on a video, perhaps. But I knew that, at least at the time, I hadn't talked to Jake in a while. But Jake Peters, I know, was assisting TJ for a while, and they just made me stop and watch him. Wow, TJ throws it really good.
I think Jake's back there somewhere. If you ever want to say hi to him.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I saw him yesterday. Actually, he's going to be on TV. He helped lead a U12 team, the Southwest squad, called the Vegas Incredibles, to a U12 USA Bowling National Championship TV berth. So they'll be taking on the defending champions, Pacific Southwest, U12 USA Bowling TV show. They'll be taped on Saturday or tomorrow. No, tomorrow. Wow.
Yeah. Time went by quick this week, huh?
Man, and it's going to air in August. Nice shot from Alec Dudley.
What's kind of cool is those guys that made that show. They're from Las Vegas, and so one of the tournament groups that I bowl, they bowled when I was still in California before I left for school. So I got to actually know a bunch of those little guys before
Really?
they even they've been big time now starting tomorrow. But I knew them and I got to see them and how they've grown and progressed over time. It's pretty cool. They're about to be on TV for their first time bowling together.
You guys have something in common. I mean, now obviously you won junior gold at 16, but could you imagine being on TV even earlier, like the kids you just talked about? They're under 12 and under.
I couldn't imagine that. I'd probably be a nervous wreck. But you know what? That's the great part about this tournament is these kids are having success at a young age and being able to be on TV. 12-year-olds on TV bowling for a national championship. That's unheard of. You very rarely hear about that. And you know these guys are going to be on TV and hope one day probably future professionals, and they're going to look back and say 8 years ago I made my first TV show and now I'm back on for a different organization or group.
I mean, that's what I look forward to seeing. I mentioned earlier or yesterday about that. Some of the things we look forward to when you cover junior gold year in and year out. Obviously, we see players like yourself just kind of grow, mature, enter junior gold, then, age out of junior gold, for example. But you just see all the progression and the maturity and, how their game has got better, improved. Even in some cases, you talked about physical, like literally physical attributes of, someone just, getting taller, or you see the physical strength that they've gotten over the course of the years.
Yeah.
Honestly, even Solomon Salama, for example.
He got taller over just
He
the
got
1
taller.
year. And I didn't realize how much taller he got because he was another guy. I bowled with him while I was still at home, and he was rising up. And it's crazy how over the 1 year he got taller and how much different his game has gotten. And obviously it's done well for him. It hasn't held him back, but it's crazy how much taller he is, and he's still in that U15 division.
Yep.
I think he's bowling fairly well for what I've seen.
Yeah, he was in the top 3 for most of the week. I didn't get a chance to see what's happened so far today. Nice finish there for Gage. So 204. Would you be playing where you've seen some of these lefties play, you think, if you were bowling?
Pretty close. The middles seem so flat and touchy. Anything inside of 10 that, I would try to avoid it at all costs if I couldn't get my bowling ball through that part of the lane. So just looking at their success and how they're able to get to the pocket, I think somewhere left of 10 would be my ideal area as well. A lot of right-handers are outside as well.
That is where we started earlier today, and again, the strikes seem to be coming a little bit more frequent there. Crow can't send the messenger to get the 7.
Now we got a Gabe Alvarez to our right, shoot 260, 269, punches down the 10th. some scores are starting to come now.
Thank everyone for tuning in. Match play will begin at 7:30, well, approximately 7:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. Briley Hall. Last time we saw Briley was this morning during the advanced round. And just struggled a little bit. Just didn't look comfortable. Had some uncharacteristic miscues, and then of course, when you throw a good shot after something like that, you don't generally get a break. And that's what he went through earlier, but new round, and he is able to, at the moment, he's in the 220s, able to right the ship.
You talked earlier about the progression of bowlers and how they've gotten bigger and things like that. I crossed with Briley at team trials maybe 5 years ago. I wasn't very good by any means, but I had some knowledge and some ideas that can help him. And so he's on a short pattern, and he loves this story. Every time I harass him a little for it. He's on a short pattern. He's playing 5th, 6th arrow with whatever bowling ball he's throwing. While the guys are no farther left than the 3rd arrow, he's trying to wheel on this bowling ball. And I tell him, I said, you want some help, man? Because he's struggling, and obviously there's a couple of games left. And I tell him, you kind of got to get a little closer to where everybody else is at, to the right, kind of just tumble the ball. And there's no perfect answer, but at least you're a little closer to the pocket and damage control. And he remembers that, his mom remembers that. Now he's my teammate at Wichita, and he made Team USA this, I think 2017 he made Team USA. And like, you can see how much he has progressed over time, because obviously he's become a better player. Even after that moment, he's become a better player with a wider skill set than he once had.
Three-pin roll for Cameron Crow. Meanwhile, David Hooper. Pocket 7-10. Give it a run, David.
Ooh. Someone picked up the 8-10 earlier.
Really?
I think I was on like 45 or 46 just watching. Someone left an 8-10 and they bounced it out. So I think anything can happen after watching that. If it can bounce there, it can bounce anywhere here.
Well, we have seen a lot of deadwood come out to outside of the sweep area, so I do agree. We could see something special. Jonathan Lovett. He got into the cut this afternoon as well. One of the late entrants, if you will. Former Dexter All-American. In fact, he was tied for 62nd with Jalen Mosley at plus 57. They're just off camera on 31-32. Someone asked about Tom Hankey earlier. Game 2 shot 168. And after 2 games, Tom now 19 under for this round. Just this round only. All right, Alec Dudley.
I've seen a lot of urethane being thrown down the lane today, or at least in this round. Nice spare.
Nice and powerful, too, from Marcus McCray. Why has urethane been so popular and so effective as well, with kind of this urethane renaissance, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a difference of opinions, but I think the reason why I think urethane has become so attractive to all these kids, or even the adults, obviously, but it's because it's controllable. When you're on the pattern this tough, heck, all week they're tough. But when they're so tough, you got to control the pocket, and sometimes, the reactive ball overhooks or doesn't hook enough, so it washes out. So when you throw a urethane ball, it just controls it a little better. It keeps your angles a little tighter. Not all the time as well, because we've seen a lot of bowlers just wheel and deal with the urethane bowling balls. But it controls the pocket, especially when they're harder like this. You take your 9s and pick up your spares and you call it a day. Obviously, not all the kids are wanting that, but when you're higher up, you take those 9 spares and call it a day. And the game's changed so much where now we're also bowling like higher volume patterns. I remember like 21 mils being a lot of mils, and take another guess here. This is like 29 mils. And they're throwing urethane balls when before we used to throw reactive balls during that on those patterns.
All right, David made the spare. He's going to make the walk back. He's going to try a different bowling ball. David struggling just a touch from the right side. What have you seen, and what might David do here, you think?
Oh, I think he's going to ball change to something a little cleaner and weaker. I think his other ball was fighting it too hard. Yeah, that looked a little cleaner and weaker. Controlled the pocket a little better. I don't know if he threw urethane. I didn't really see that, but whatever he was throwing was probably his one ball, a little bigger, asymmetrical. But it was a good move.
164 for David. Cameron finishes with 235.
471 for the block.
Cameron, let's see, I don't have him in the few standings that I do have. They're working on the standings, folks. I know that is the most popular question right now. I wish I had more of an answer for you at the moment. All right, trouble avoided there for Alec Dudley. And he'll be in the 220s. All right, let's scroll back up. That's a tough question for him. Only because, what's your favorite ball ever released and why? But
ever.
You can have the opportunity to limit that out of respect for your current brand.
I've thrown a lot of bowling balls from a lot of different brands.
Right.
Every single company has made great bowling balls, and there's ones that you like and ones that you don't like. You know, this might sound bad, but I think the one that I really like the most, that if I can have at least that for every year I bowl, I would just be the happiest kid ever. And it's a Burgundy Hammer. It's the remake of the Burgundy Hammer.
Okay.
And you know, it's like my my urethane. Even though it's not urethane, it's like a reactive resin. It's like part, half. I think that's my controllable smooth ball that, like, it's almost benchmark, but I know if it's too oily or too long, you can't throw it. I think that would be like my favorite of all time. I've struck a lot with that bowling ball, especially in college when the left side's hard. Like, if I see a strike that many times, I'm happy, especially in college on the left side. The left side's no fun. You can ask any of the great players that have once bowled in college that, no discredit to any lefty, but like, the left is hard because when the right-handers move far enough left, you're almost trapped into a zone that you can't play. But obviously, everyone figures it out.
Right.
Just sometimes there's those rare tournaments where it makes it hard on the left, and they start to struggle. And I mean, I have my fair share of struggle. But that's like the go-to almost every single tournament. If I can throw it, and a lot of my friends will say it too, if I can throw that bowling ball, they don't want to bowl me because it's not fair.
Nice finish from Alec Dudley, 223. Marcus McCray, 2 more shots. We'll get to more questions. I do have a score update for you. If you go to the results page, bowl.com, nice shot there from Sean Martin as we welcome him, along with Harry Weigel, Kyle Malosky, who shot 257 to ensure he was in the number, and Kyle Johnston, who got off to a great start this morning as well. Check out the scores on the Junior Gold results page, and you want to click on Final Advancers. They have the scores posted after one game of this round. So it's the most recent. At some point, we'll be able to go back and check out what happened with the Advancers round. But as of right now, Game 1 is available, and check that out as well. In fact, I'm going to check it out again because it has obviously the top 64, and that's what we're looking for.
You know, now that we're getting in Game 3, this to me is even the most stressful part as a spectator, because when you see the number or you see how close you are to either the cut or Team USA or Junior Team USA, you're anxious, you're nervous, you know you're chasing something. And to me, even watching, like I'm looking at these scores, and I'm looking at the bowlers around just to see where they're at and how they're bowling. And this is going to be an exciting 3 games, I believe.
Joseph Grondin to our right, taking care of the 1, 2, 8, 10, your teammate.
Yes, sir.
In Wichita State.
He was on the singles show, ISC
yes, he
show.
was. Finished second to Kenny Ryan. All right, Sean with an early double. Sean goes to.
Is it William Patterson?
No, but that's close. It's not Mount Mercy. They won the Hoosier. I love those dudes too. They were super cool.
William, I think it was William.
No, it's not
William
P.
Penn.
Yes, that's
William
it.
Penn. I got it. So I had.
You were
I had
close.
that wrong. Yeah. That's why we got stumped. William Patterson,
Yes.
William Penn.
Someone asked about Michael and Justin. They were 1 and 2 coming in. And again, if you talked about that, they're still hanging tough. Got a chance to really see Brent Boho, who is 15th at the moment. Cameron Crowe has moved into 16th. I saw a lot of Brent Boho during the collegiate season. But before that, saw a lot during the during team trials. And he made the show for the U.S. Amateur. And, of course, ended up making Junior Team USA at that point as well. Just seeing some of the names. Actually, we get to see Harry Weigel, who is 17th.
It's not a bad start for him. 446 for 2. It's a good start, especially how hard they look.
It's funny, I was talking about bowling earlier, specifically this event, and how I recall specifically one year, 2006, my last year bowling. And if I could just have the day 3 back, if I can have the short pattern back, I feel like I would have been in a better position. I was 80 over and went 78 under on short.
Oh, wow.
And obviously made the cut, but it's different.
Yeah, you're chasing instead of having a number that's okay and keeps you close in the whole tournament. Yeah.
And then, for whatever reason, the advancers rounds just always destroyed me. To this day, it's one of those things where you can go back. I asked for a DeLorean earlier, Marty McFly.
Yeah,
so if I could go back, I feel like I'm ready to tackle that, even though I don't bowl anymore, or that much, I should say. But just with the mental knowledge that I've gained since that point,
Yeah.
I would know exactly what to do. At least on the short. I got to be honest, the advancers rounds were just, I was watching everyone strike, and I'm just like, what am I missing?
Where was this 10 years ago when I was bowling?
Man. All right, double 9 spare. All right, so again, folks, if you just joined us and you're asking about scores, we do have Game 1 updated after this round, or excuse me, in this round for the final advancers. Be sure to go to the 2018 results page. You can click that link. It's available in the event description. If you want to select final advancers round U20 boys, and they'll have Game 22 for you updated. Big thanks to Zach Barton getting that up and ready for everyone to view. It looks like we're waiting on 27 and 28. And while we have that time, let's just take a quick peek at 29 and 30 along with 31 and 32. No scores, but we'll have those back for you, at least on 29 and 30 momentarily.
What was your highest finish ever at Junior Gold?
Both years I finished, I think 73rd, 4th-ish, and like 77th.
Okay.
But each year I was higher in the standings, and the advancers round
Just knocked you out.
just destroyed me.
It's the worst.
It is. The first year, 2005, I was like, okay, You know, this is like the learning year. I'm like, okay, cool. The next year, I was like, kind of upset about it.
I bet, yeah.
Because it was my last year, and I was 80 over after 2.
So you're
after 2
you're
days,
sitting good. You're
and I was feeling
pretty
good
about yourself. Yeah.
I was on the first page. I think I was like around the top 20, if not in the top 20. So that's my claim to fame. I was on the front page of the
For a
junior
round
gold
of junior gold.
standings for 2 rounds.
If you could go back, would you bowl this event again?
Absolutely. Well, 100%. Even though, I mean, they're only getting more difficult, in my opinion.
Yes.
Which I think it should be that way. And I know the scoring pace obviously is a little higher, but I think it's important to note that that doesn't mean it's easy. It just means that sometimes it really means the players are just better.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. The players are just getting better. They're learning more. They have an endless amount of resources that they can use. You know, I mean, the internet's a wonderful place for the most part, and
keyword
for the most part.
For the most part.
And but like you can watch and read so many different things about bowling that it can help your game. And then the coaches are getting better too because they're getting smarter with their access to the internet and other coaches. I think this is just, like I said, this generation is just so much smarter because of what they're able to get out of everything.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, and they've done a great job of taking advantage of it.
Yes.
You know, and it's just it's the progression of like not only life but the sport, technology, all rolling into one. You know, we've got coaching online, and you can FaceTime someone to have them look at you real quick while you're practicing.
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things are they go under the radar. You have it, as you said, at their fingertips at this point. Really, that kind of goes for anyone out there too, by the way. So if you're watching this, and I know we had some viewers on, some young viewers who are looking forward to bowling junior gold next year, for example. You know, the internet is a good place. There's a ton of references, resources, and really, honestly, I've always found that most people are generally looking to help someone.
Yes.
Like, people want to help you get better, generally. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
But for the most part, in my experience, people want to help other people get better.
Post a video on Facebook or something and
Yeah.
just say, I need some help, I'm working on this, and someone's going to come in and try to help you out.
Yeah. Obviously, someone said earlier, a certified coach would be helpful. Absolutely.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of coaches, but everyone has a different style. They teach differently. There also could be a lot of wrong info out there as well. So you want to make sure you're covered there. I will ask you, from a coaching perspective, who was one of your, or it could be several, obviously, coaching influences as you were making the move up the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah. So very early on, my dad was my coach, and he helped me with everything. Like I said, he was not biased at all. He said, if you're two-handed, okay. So he gave me the basic one-handed principles, like keep your back leg down, post your shot at the line, your spares have to be flat, this is what you need to do. And so he gave me a lot of the basics. And there was a time where, he told me, I can only help you so much, even though he had a pretty good understanding of what was going on. And so he scouted out, he started looking, and so there was a gentleman by the name of Mark Baker. And now to this day, everyone loves Mark, everyone knows who he is. But then that's kind of when Mark was first starting to get out there. He was coaching Tommy, he was coaching Chris, Barnes and Jones, and so Dad saw his name and said, do you want to try coaching with this guy? I said, all right, sure. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so
Sure.
we started scheduling lessons, and every couple of weeks I would see Mark, and Mark was one of the big reasons why I got this much better and got me, like as you said, over the hump. He taught me so many things. He gave me a tour perspective, and I was still 13, 14 when he was giving me the tour perspective. And he did everything: physical game, lane play, maybe not so much mental, but he can definitely put you in the right mindset. Sure. And so as he got better and I got better, I got a little known, he got very known. And so now he's Team USA coach.
Yes, he is.
so that was an early success. And once I made Team USA, Rod Ross, Brian O'Keefe, at the time Coach Kim and Stephen Padilla, all of them were like resources that I just used countlessly, like always asking them questions, sending them video. So I mean, I think that group right there was a big reason I would be able to, for me to become who I am and how much better I became over time.
In the booth with Wesley Lowe as we begin, Game 3 is underway. It's beginning, however, on 27 and 28. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Big thanks to all of you tuning in. We've got 4 streams, and all of you are watching them. And so we appreciate that. We appreciate your love on Bowl TV. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up for us as well on this event. But subscribe to Bowl TV. We got some great stuff coming up on the channel. Of course, in August and September, we will have the Final 5 PWBA events on Bowl TV. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe there. We'll have qualifying and the events, of course, that have match play. We'll have all of the preliminary rounds for you for the Final 5 events of the season on the Professional Women's Bowling Association Tour. And then all of the finals in August will be live on CBS Sports Network on Saturday. So get your popcorn ready. As T.O. would say, set your DVRs. Might as well just go ahead and set your DVRs right now, because I don't want any excuses. Live TV every Saturday, with the occasion of one event. They're all at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In September, of course, Tour Championship will be Wednesday, September 19th.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Me too. It's actually weird not being around with PWBA this month. We had a kind of a built-in break, and really to make sure everyone could be a part of Junior Gold in that sense. All right, looks like we got some a new score update. All right, my man, Mr. Zach Barton, is putting them out. He's getting the scores out for us here. Michael Martell still in the lead, 51-12. Is that plus 512? Or excuse me, yeah, plus 512. Is that really right?
23, so it'd be 4,600 would be par. So he's currently plus 512 for the tournament.
All right, Mike. Justin O'Shaughnessy second, 50-25. And plus 25, so just nearly a 100-pin lead. It was much larger than that, but Mike shot 150. So Martell is going 190, 150 after going 200 over this morning in the advancers round. Chad Stephen in third from Flint, Michigan. Justin, by the way, from Canton, Michigan, will be 937. Plus 337 there. Ryan Burden is plus 326 in fourth. Kenan McFalls is plus 306 in fifth. Anthony Nyer, who has moved up essentially to the U20 division. He's been on TV a couple times, won the title. Now he's in the U20 and holding his own, and as you would expect, phenomenal player. He is at sixth at plus 303.
You know, talking about age, so I guess Anthony was on the very first TV show they had in the U12 division.
He was.
Then he was in the U15 division this past year on the TV show. He took second to Solomon, and I mean, right now, 16 years old, he's sitting pretty good at the number, top 16.
He's looking good, and you know, even though it's a different division, I feel like when you have that type of success early, and I think that's why, you know, U12, it's an odd number, but I think it's an important division because it's in the same mold as kind of USA Bowling. It gets you ready for those moments as you grow.
Yeah.
And so if you get to TV at that type of early age, of course it's going to be,
oh boy,
as Sean almost went over there. But he was on an open, didn't lose count. We'll regroup here and make the spare. As you get older, you have a TV experience that early, you're going to go through all of the emotions that obviously kind of go along with that.
Yep.
And I don't know what it feels like. We just talked about you don't know, although 16 but not 12. That's just a little bit different.
For 4 years, you get a little older.
That's a lot of time at that age.
Yep.
And to figure out that nice recovery from Mr. Martin. So to think about, whatever mistakes being made, or, I had fun, but I think about it, and then you say, oh, wow, I remember this back in the day, or I can go back to this moment. Maybe they won't recall everything that happened when you make a TV show at 12 years old, because I'm sure most of it's kind of a blur at the end of it.
Yeah, yep.
But just to be in that, just to even have the experience is more than enough, and I think that would help someone no matter if they get to the 16 portion or U15, for example, U20. It's like the Little League World Series, where I think it was, for example, Todd Frazier. And there's been a ton of Major League players who have played in the Little League World Series. Todd Frazier always comes to mind because he played for the White Sox, which was my team. But they always would show his clip about the time of the Little League World Series. And I mean, it's kind of the same. It's a very similar situation. Kind of have that moment, that young.
And you learn from that situation, all that pressure, all those fans.
All right, Vito, the scores can be found in the event description. Click on for results and more. Click that link, and then you'll scroll down to the U20 final advantage round. Kyle Johnston give it a run. Sean Martin just can't get a break. Pocket 7-10 here. He started off well. Early double. And 10-pin has struggled a little bit since. Game 3 is flying by, as you would expect, with just 4 on a pair. Let me go up and a couple more questions here for Wes. So from the lane play perspective at this moment, Wes, what are you seeing at this point as we get near the end of Game 3?
I've seen a little bit of transition here. Players are starting to migrate in a little bit. They haven't blown open, it looks like. I don't think anybody is standing as far left as they can, throwing it as far right as they can. They're still tough and touchy. We're looking around maybe like second arrow and just kind of rolling 7, 5, 6, 7, just kind of keeping it there. Looks like the most success for the most part with a lot of these guys. And they're still touchy. They haven't broken down at all. And we're not going to see them blow open by any means. Not enough games, not enough bowlers.
So one could say that, and in a way, it all kind of works itself out, right? That it's getting more difficult.
Yeah. As
the tournament nears the end, essentially. Which, with a title on the line, that's what you would want.
Yep.
It's Tyrell Ingles.
Oh, he just proved me wrong. He's about 4 arrows left of what I said.
Well, there's always that one.
Yeah. You aced that one, though.
Tyrell is a good example of that. He was part of the winning squad.
U15, right? 2016, USA Bowling.
16, yeah, USA Bowling.
He surprised me. I think I sat in on that show, and I watched him, and he was a pretty decent looking player for being that age, and didn't know how he bowled the rest of the tournament. But this past year at team trials,
he was very good.
Yes. And it surprised me. And I said 2 years later, this kid is in the same position I am. And I couldn't believe we bowled in the position round. And I don't remember what place we were in, but he shocked me about how much better he had gotten within the 2 years. And, right now, he's top 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the top 16 at junior gold, U20 division. Biggest, grandest stage of all. And he's hanging there with those guys.
And that kind of goes back to that progression posted, or portion that we talked about. All right, folks. So I'll give it to you one more time. Everybody just listen to me for a second. I have added, we're talking about the top 64 scores right now. We're 2 games in. The scores are being updated. The advancers round, we'll get to that part later. But right now, the final advancers round scores are being updated. I've made it easier for you. Final advancers round in the event description. Click refresh. It'll be there for you. Click that link. It'll take you right to it. Please let me know if it's working. So you gotta work with me. You gotta work with me. Y'all my people, but we're not seeing eye to eye right now.
The guys here do a marvelous job with updating scores and like making this tournament run smoothly. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but this is the first like hiccup I've heard or seen. But it's not even a hiccup. Like they still got these guys out on a manageable time, and they're bowling their last round. So I think they're still doing a good job. I think that was just like the only little thing this week that we've had a problem with.
And it happens every now and then. Obviously, with this many bowlers, of course, and things do happen.
Yeah, it's human nature. Nothing's perfect.
Linda, the next thing I would say would be then to clear your cache. I would try that on your browser. I am able to see the scores. I think Wes, are you watching from your mobile device? You can see the scores.
Yes.
Okay, so we know it is working. So try clearing your cache or try a different browser. I'll drop the link in the chat as well, just in case. Okay, Vito's got it. Appreciate that. That name sounds so familiar. Vito Genova.
Genova?
Yeah. Vito, did you? I assume you bowl. You mentioned the Long Island Youth Tour earlier.
Yes. He has I think his daughter's name is Christina. And I feel like he had a son potentially named Tommy, or oh man. See, this is how old I am, or I think I am. They bowled when I was like 16 years old or so. They were bowling the same tournaments as I was, so that's how I became like familiar with them. And I don't know if his son still likes me or not, but hopefully he does. And now I don't remember his name, so I think I just hurt myself on that one. But that's where the name sounds familiar to me too.
He said yes.
All right.
How about that?
I was on the right page.
His son was Vito. I feel like maybe he bowled USA Bowling this year. Someone did. Maybe that was it. All right, 27 and 28. Oh, okay. Obviously not his best shot there from Quinn, but still trying to, kind of play that zone in this sense.
Oh, got another lefty. Been watching for a little bit.
That is Nate Stubler, I believe, of St. Ambrose.
Okay.
He's getting a shout out in the chat room.
Oh, they're already starting game 4 right here.
Yeah, 29 and 30 is they're not messing around.
They're ready to go.
Wow, I might as well take that game of graphic off. I don't want to confuse people.
You got Cortez Shanks, 675 for 3. The U.S. Amateur champion this year.
Cortez bowled very well this morning. And
crushed him, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember what his total was. I don't think I even saw the final, but he had 758 after 3.
I think Tyrell is just trying to prove me wrong here.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, when I've watched Tyrell in the past, I think if there is an opportunity to get to 4th arrow,
Love it.
I think he's going to take it
That's his
and
wheelhouse.
strike a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
And so sometimes it's about obviously getting to your comfort zone, and then sometimes it's about being able to do something that someone else can't do. And when you have that, generally good things happen. When that's the case.
Mill just stepped out for a second, but I'll continue with what he was saying. If at any point or any moment, like, you can get in your comfort zone playing your A game, that's the way to go. And if your A game is beating everybody else, you got to stick with it. You don't try to do something a little different and get away from that, especially when it's working, especially right now when they're this hard and you got your comfort zone going. Makes you loose, makes it easy, and you're throwing the best shots you can throw.
BCAW, appreciate that. They do know. They are aware in regards to this morning's advancers round. But I think they wanted to make sure that we could get some scores for this round that is ongoing. So players will know what's actually happening, of course, and they can plan appropriately for this morning. But they are working on that on this morning's part. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate everybody too. But that's part of our relationship. There's that give and take.
Ooh, almost had a roll 4.
What happened on that shot?
I don't think he got all of it at the bottom like he likes. Missed it a little bit to the right, and it didn't come back the same way a lot of the other bowlers were missing. Nice shot from Cortez right there. Just looking at the lefties around us, they don't look like they've migrated too far off of where they've started. Not that it's a good or bad thing, but I think they're working in the same area and their lanes haven't transitioned as bad quite yet. Where you can see there's a lot of right-handers playing out, there's still some playing in, there's everyone in between. Could be wrong here, but I'm going to go on a limb saying 675 for 3 is pretty close to leading the block.
Well, they're not complete with game 3, right? So that's really, there's a couple pairs. So 2 pairs, or maybe 3. 3 pairs. They're still finishing up game 3. Though somehow along the way, someone got delayed. No problem, BCAW.
It's a pretty good ball right there.
Thank you for watching. That was a good ball. Cortez is, I mean, I have to ask you because you get to share the locker room, essentially, if you will, from the collegiate perspective with him. What makes him Cortez Shank, if that makes sense?
Well, I can tell you, I also roomed with him
Oh,
this year
okay.
too, so I see everything. He sees when I'm mad, he sees when I'm good. I see the same thing. So I get that's a good one. What makes Cortez is like his drive and ability. He's never satisfied with just mediocrity. Like, if he bowls bad, he puts himself down so much harder than I ever would do to myself. That's his way of coping, obviously, but puts himself down, and then he makes it like his goal to practice more or to work on whatever it was that wasn't going well. And like, I know that with him, like I see it all the time. Like, there are times where I slack off and don't practice, but this guy, like, he never slacks off. If he wants to practice because of something, he will say it. He'll do it. He'll make sure it happens. And I think that's what separates him from some of these other bowlers, is I think just that determination to continue practicing when bowling isn't going well. Yeah, we've had our good moments. Some bad.
I like that.
But obviously, like, I think it was good rooming together because we got to feel each other out and understand what we want to be and what we want to achieve, and we just made each other better in that sense. If you don't know him, he's also like he's like a ball historian. He knows every single bowling ball. Yeah, he like, if you talk to him about like the number series bowling balls from track, he will tell you like every single one. He loves them too. If he sees one on a pro shop, he'll like, I need it, Dad. I need it. Let's get it. It's one of his like little quirks that he has.
A ball historian. Rarely do you see someone or know someone that as young as he is that would go with that type of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, front four for Cortez. Did that look urethane-ish?
Yeah. And knowing him, it's probably either a Black Widow urethane or a Black Hammer urethane. It's crazy. People were still throwing urethane, you know? I remember like 5 years ago, the idea was that you would throw urethane the first 2 games or so, and then you would immediately switch into like a reactive ball after the pattern had blended. And now, like, even the right-handers, you can throw urethane all the time. Almost all 6 games in a block, 5 games, whatever it may be. Shows how like different we see the lanes now too.
I can't remember the last time I threw a urethane ball, to be completely honest. And I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
I don't even own a urethane ball. So I had to go back to, you know, not to date myself, but I mean, like the mid '90s.
Yeah.
Was really like the last time I was like, you know, 11 at this point. So I haven't thrown like a new urethane ball. At some point, I guess I will, because I feel like if I ever decide to actually bowl again, I'm gonna have to have one in the bag. Good shot there from Cortez.
Yeah, I think a lot of competitive bowlers right now have a urethane ball in their bag. At least one. Some different than others. I know Jacob Buttroff, his whole bag is urethane when he can do it.
And that's where it says, you know, there's always someone who bucks a trend.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
so, oh, it's you know, it's not for me, or it doesn't work that well, or, you know, it's got to have some benefits, because, you know, it is a huge part of what's happening in today's game, especially kind of with the younger generation. Someone like Jesper, for example, who at the professional level kind of exclusively uses urethane.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say that only because I don't know that to be completely true, but obviously if you see him on television, he's typically throwing
a urethane ball,
urethane ball.
Or a plastic ball.
Oh, of course.
I did watch him throw a plastic ball on TV, and he was making a run at the ladder too.
And then of course Jacob Buttroff, who has just been has teared up the regional scene, for the last few years, and has done some amazing things, obviously now nationally, with urethane.
Yeah. When I was at the U.S. Open, I was talking to him. A couple of us were talking. Said, Jacob, what are you checking in? We had 8 balls. I got a plastic ball. I got 3 purples, and it was like 2 black hammers and 1 reactive ball. Jacob, you know this is the U.S. Open, right? Yeah, I know. And all he threw that whole week was a urethane bowling ball. And he was confident with it too. He didn't say, oh, I don't know if I should do it. I'm going for it.
Right.
I'm having all my urethane bowling balls in my bag, and I'm going to fire in.
I mean, I like that confidence level. And again, I feel like someone who feels like they can do something that most people can't. The PBA washout there taken care of by Blake Massey. Jacob Balzer, who just watched him on the right lane playing outside. Maybe got that one a board or 2 left. It looked just a couple left.
Just pinch inside of where he wanted, and it checked up hard. But he's farther right than a lot of these other guys.
Tyrell opened in the 9th. Missed a couple breaks. So frames 2, 3, and 9 have not been his. Needs a big finish here.
I think Tyrell, if he heard me talk about where we should be playing right now, I think he would really just tell me I was wrong. I mean, he can punch for 190, but he's still in a good ballpark right now. He's finding something he can deal with and work with, and he's going to go this next game with confidence on what he's doing.
Let's see, Tyrell. Is 25th.
Okay.
So he was in the number. He shot 150. Second game of this round, and that's where he finds himself here.
Stings a little bit.
A little bit. So important shot here for Tyrell.
He's got to get up. Good shot. It's a good way to save your third game here. Put yourself 191. Only lose a couple of sticks on the field. Potentially lose a couple of sticks. Scores could be low this game.
Well, we've got a pair in game 4 and a pair in game 3.
About to have a pair in game 5.
Yes, we are.
29-30 is almost done.
This has been fun so far. Let's just say hello to Judy back. Sorry about that, Judy. Hello.
Hey, you got the strike. 191.
So definitely some contrast on what we saw this morning and what's happening right now with so many factors and variables involved.
You know, maybe that since there were 8 on a pair this morning, the lanes broke down a little quicker. And obviously this is all relative, but they maybe broke down a little quicker and allowed the guys to play their comfort zone, get a little farther left quicker. So I mean, if we had 8 on a pair on this pattern, the scores could still be a little lower.
Absolutely.
But at least they have the breakdown, the transition that will allow them to move a little bit left and get into where they want to be rather than trying to, you know, play this outside line or try to keep their hand a little softer to not spark up as quick. So it's different. Maybe it would have been different scoring pace this morning if this was out compared to what was out this morning.
And to be fair, we don't know what's out there, obviously.
No.
And so, wow, what in the world?
Was that a 410 with the messenger?
Oh. Wow. I don't think I've seen that before. But to be fair, we don't know what's happening on the lanes from a pattern perspective. So
no clue.
It very well could be different than what they bowled on this morning. I always look forward to seeing what was out. Obviously, I know the players do, of course.
Yes.
To see, you know, how close someone might have been to thinking that, you know, what distance might have been this, or, you know, what the volume might have been at this particular center.
You know, the Open Championships is always an interesting one because you don't find everyone bowls for 4 months. You see all the videos, and you don't get to know the pattern until the very end. That was one I was guessing on. I think I bowled in June, and like from June until the end or the beginning of July, I was trying to take my guesses on what the patterns were.
Were you close?
I think so. I mean, I said the team was relatively short. I think I said it would have been like 37 to 39, somewhere in that ballpark. I think it ended up being 38.
Yeah.
I said they were pretty flat. Like I knew they were going to be flat and a little lower on the volume side because if anyone watched how they were playing, you had to be farther in, and that was like the way to create shim with your team, and that's where I kind of thought they were flatter, where you didn't have that room. And the singles and doubles, I thought it would be a little longer. I thought about 41 feet. I think it ended up being 42 was the number it ended up being.
Yeah.
And it was a little more blended and a little more volume because we know that there's more games bowled or more people. Like, yeah, let's see.
Makes sense.
Six games a game, 18, 30, 36 would be the total amount of games by the end of the one set compared to 30. No, 60? I'm trying to do math in my head that I can't do. No, it's 30. I got it. It'd be 30 on the pair for team, and then 36 for singles and doubles would be the total number. So, I mean, the pattern's got to hold up a little longer on the singles and doubles. Or at least you would think. Right. It could go either way, but just based off of watching and seeing what was there.
And they're not changing. You're not switching lanes.
No, you stay on the same pair,
right.
Yeah. So it's either a blessing or a curse for you guys. I know it was a curse for me on the left side over there.
They weren't easy.
Nope.
Of course, I didn't make them look easy at all because I didn't get a chance to practice, which I expected that, though. I knew what was going to happen. I was just going out there to have fun. We get a chance to go out as employees and use the opportunity as a team building situation for us and to have fun, you know, with our coworkers and friends in that regard. So, but for me, of course, and anyone I imagine with any type of competitive fire, and you know the expectation that you're always going to have no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It was a little tough at first. Yeah, I kind of got over it a little bit. Just learn to have a little fun, which is hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. Especially as a bowler.
It's hard.
We're all competitive. We always have that drive. Another two-handed lefty.
All right, so let's talk about that. So Jake Mullen, Jonathan Clear, someone talked about or mentioned him in the chat room. He is on our feature pairs now, 27 and 28, Hayden Stippich and Blake Ernest. When you started as a two-handed bowler, at what point did you start to notice there were other two-handed players?
There were, in the tournament clubs I had bowled at the time, there were maybe two. And that's because one guy just thought it was cool, and so he did it. And this is before Belmo like got on tour. So I think two, and then maybe there's a couple more here and there. As I got older and a little bit better, and we can all blame Belmo, and I don't think we're blaming him. I think he changed the game, revolutionized it, did something that no one had ever done, and there became more two-handers because they watched Belmo do it, and they thought, man, if this guy can do it as well, I can maybe one day do it like him. And so as Belmo became a fad and started winning and all that good jazz, that's where I noticed more people started developing the two-handed style. And now I see more and more at this tournament, at a lot of junior tournaments and adult tournaments. I see the two-handed style everywhere now. Even adults, you know, there are a lot of adults starting to convert to the two-handed style.
It's an interesting take. Obviously, and again, there's a lot of opinions on it. I think we all know what they are, so we don't need to go down that road.
Yep.
But you know, it's not going away.
No.
And I have to go back to, as we watch the two-handed righty, I have to go back to my first experience with a two-handed. Now, what year did you really kind of, I won't say got good with the style, but I would say when you really kind of picked it up and you had success? Like when you said earlier, your youth director said you had to be able to push it down, like get it down the lane by yourself. What year was that, approximately?
Probably around 2000.
Okay.
That'd have been about that year.
So in 2003, the fall, I met a young man named Brian Valenta.
Yes. You ended up bowling with him, didn't
I did.
you? Okay.
And so my two-handed experience starts then, which is a lot different, obviously, than what we're watching now.
Yes.
But that's 15 years ago. And so, of course, little did we know on the other side of the pond, Jason Belmonte was doing the same thing.
And Oscar Palermo
was doing the same thing. But Brian Valenta was the first person that I saw in this country. And I shouldn't say that because not that I was touring the world or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, you know, he was the first person that not only did I see do it, but was successful at it. And he was very good.
He was your anchor on the show.
Yeah. He was a guy who, when you needed a hit in the 10th, he was going to give it to you. If you needed a double, he was going to do it. If you needed 2 and 9, he was going to do it. All we had to do was just get it to him
and set him up.
And he was that guy. But from the two-handed perspective, he was, you know, he was the Belmo, the collegiate Belmo at this point.
You know, this goes back to like me kind of being a historian. There was a gentleman who actually bowled on tour in like the 70s. See, the name I always will get wrong, and I had to look it up. But I know he was a part of the PBA 50, like that 50th anniversary top 50 group.
Oh.
I don't remember his name, and I picked off someone's brain the other day about it. But he started two-handed on tour, and he somehow realized quickly that it wasn't the style for him, and it wasn't going to make him successful. He ended up bowling one-handed, and now is a Hall of Famer, and he was a part of that 50 group. And I'm going to remember this name because I feel like this conversation comes up too much.
That's news right there.
Yeah, so he had done it. Does the name Joe Bernard sound familiar? A little bit, maybe?
Kind of,
I feel like that's the name. I could be wrong, but whoever it was, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm looking this up because I got to make sure now. But he started two-handed, didn't work out, ends up going on tour again, bowls one-handed, and he bowls well for the years he was out there. And that was in, I think, the 70s, 80s.
Wow.
So now this is like, if this is true and he was two-handed, which was written down that he was, that was like the first glimpse of it.
But there were witnesses.
Yes. I'm sure you can ask someone and they'll let you know that he did it.
I'm curious now.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I gotta make sure this is right.
220 for Cortez Shank. Jacob Balzer 169. Blake Massey a spare to go. He gets 209, and Alex Acosta shoots 191. Alex, the Bolingbrook, Illinois product there. So game 4 really just underway. Again on 27 and 28, but some strikes being thrown. So this one might speed up just a touch. We're also at that point to where every strike, every shot, it obviously matters. But as we get down to game 4 and, of course, game 5, as Wes mentioned earlier, you're trying to crack the top 16. There's automatic slots to Team USA, Junior Team USA, for those who are age eligible, for example. So
do we know who's age eligible or not?
Not yet. It's being confirmed as we speak.
Gotcha.
Of course, Felina did make, he was on Junior Team USA, I think a 2-time member.
Was 05 one of the years?
Yep.
I think it was one of the years.
He was in 03, if I recall, and definitely 2005. Actually, he made it right here in this very city, in Dallas. With someone you may or may not know. You remember Mark French?
Yeah, he's a lefty from Ventura.
He's one of the best dudes I've ever seen throw a bowling ball.
Yep. I heard he started picking up bowling again.
Oh, that's fantastic. That could be the best news I've heard all week.
I think I found the guy, but I'm gonna make sure I find out.
All right, folks, appreciate everyone tuning in.
Yeah, when I was growing up, like, Mark French was the guy. He was the guy you wanted to be, the guy you wanted to beat.
We spent some time together at LU. That's the other thing about Junior Gold, actually. I know a lot of the players, or a lot of the friends that I have now, through this event, one way or another.
Yeah.
In a sense, and it helped for me that I was already in college when I started bowling this, so I knew some players, and then it was an easier transition when you get to the tournament. You see somebody you know, and it's an easier conversation. I'm not going to lie, though. It also was what year was that? Yeah, a lot more people knew me because it was just a few months after we had won nationals. So then people kind of recognized the school, and they said, oh, okay, hey.
You got a little bit of thing going on, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like we had a lot of people come to the school. And Mark, Ryan Council from SoCal, they ended up coming out. And that's how I got to know them, still friends to this point, to this day. But I met them right here in Junior Gold. Good shot there from Jacob Mullen. I remember him from last year. Young, talented, very talented young man.
from the Pac Northwest area. He's another one of the guys that I've bowled with or grown up with. He, at one point, this might surprise you, but he was shorter than me. So, I was quite tall apparently at one point in my life.
Growth spurts are amazing. All right, we've got an update on scores, folks. If you're just joining us, we do have scores for the final advances round, which is what you're watching now. I've been working on just, getting things up for the advances round earlier today, so you'll know, for those obviously who did make this cut, what place they did finish in. So we hope to know that sooner rather than later, but as for now, we do have what's happening currently. Michael Martell, Wes, is almost kind of like a complete 180 from what took place for him this morning. Plus 200 earlier today, and now 196, 150, 184, but still in the lead. And a 70-pin advantage over Justin O'Shaughnessy, but the lead shrinking, of course. Chad Stephen is third. Kenan McFalls has moved into the top 4 after going from 1st to 5th after this morning's advancers round. McFalls shot 231 in game 24. So
I found the guy. There was an article written about him, and the name's Joe Berardi. He didn't bowl on tour. He didn't bowl on tour when he did it, but he was two-handed beforehand and decided to go one-handed. This was back, date I'm not going to be able to find quite yet.
Wesley dropping knowledge in the chat, or excuse me, on Bowl TV, I beg your pardon.
It says in this article, 1970s is when he was doing it. So, long time, man.
It's impressive.
So, 16th right now, 204 over. Nice shot by Jacob.
Probably not going to get to plus 300.
My number's looking pretty good.
Your number is solid.
If it's the price is right, I got the best one because I'm under. I cleared it. Closest without going over. Kenan's to our right now, 31.
Just to reiterate on the scores, again, they can be found. Final advances round scores. Advancers are being worked on. The final advancers round, well, this current round right now, is updated. In fact, it's updated through game 3 of this round. And you can find that the event description, as someone just mentioned in the chat. Thank you very much. Jonathan Clear with a double. Jay Clear trying to make some things happen. Let's see where Jonathan is. As Wesley mentioned, 16th. At plus 204. That is Joseph Rondon. 15th, Cameron Crowe from Orland Park. Hey, that's my neck of the woods. Plus 214. Gage Stelling and Harry Weigel tied for 13th at plus 221. Nathan Stubler at plus 225. Bryce Oliver, 11th at plus 250. 10th is Bryce France at plus 256. Ninth, David Hooper at plus 281. Hayden Stippich is 8th at plus 289. Cortez Shank is 7th at plus 301.
That 220 is going to help him. Move him a little closer.
Ryan Burton is 6th at plus 314. Anthony Nyer 5th at plus 317. Kenan McFalls 4th at plus 337. Chad Stephen is 3rd at plus 380. Justin O'Shaughnessy is 2nd at plus 426. And Michael Martell is 1st at plus 496. Mullen High flush.
It's a good shot. You know, that's exactly what I was saying earlier with the urethane. He is wheeling and dealing with this urethane ball. Maybe it's because the lanes broke down a little bit, but man, that's deep. Third arrow, maybe about 17 through the arrows, it looks like.
Jacob Mullen is 17th currently from Bellingham, Washington. As Wesley mentioned, from the Pacific Northwest. And just a few numbers off of 16th right now, 21 pins to be exact. And a 6-pin there for Jonathan Clear. Oh, I mean, it looks to be, as you would expect at a national championship, a very playable condition, both lefties and righties.
Yep.
Obviously, but still demanding. It still looks kind of speed sensitive a little bit too. Is this game 5? No, this is game 4 for 27 and 28. Yep. It'll be game 5 for 29 and 30.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which means that probably game 5 over on 31 and 32 as well.
Got Michael Martell on this pair. Nope. This is probably the beginning. No. Looks like they're fixing it. We're working on it.
Good shot.
4-pin for Jake. I like that shirt. There's a gerbil with a tie. It's one of the most creative shirts I've seen so far.
Hayden Stipich had the front 9 this morning in the advancers round. Let's see, Hayden is currently 8th. Right around the number is Tiger Miller. He is at plus 268. Zach Mitchell plus 268. TJ Rock plus 266, along with Jake Nimps. Andrew Lazarchik at plus 261. Gabe Alvarez, Andrew Sachs at plus 254. Sean Martin, Tyrell Ingles at plus 250. A lot of ties between really 13th and 25th.
You know, with this many games, like we always talk about, like every pin matters and every pin counts. And man, it's crazy how small of a margin each of these pit or bowlers are at. Like you said, there's a couple ties, and we had a tie at 16th earlier on. And when you come down to the stretch, that one pin may or may not cost you. You're gonna look back on it. I know I do all the time.
Wes, just a quick update. Nice shot there again from Clear. But Jonathan can go off the sheet. 258. Let me check him real quick. Jonathan trying to make a run. He's in 43rd. At plus 64, but you never know. All right, someone in the chat, specifically Wayne Chester, said the first two-handed PBA regional champion was Chuck Land from Texas.
That name sounds very familiar. That guy's a historian too, then, if he knows that much. Nice shot by Jacob. Now we got a debate going on. People are going to start looking at this info.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's certainly intriguing because, you know, you want to know the history behind it. I had an early question for you from Ryan O'Connor in regards to your enjoyment of you know, competing individually or in the collegiate setting, for example. Which one would you one do you have a preference for? But they're both different, obviously.
They are too far from the same kind of events. Oh man. I guess it depends for what purpose, but I personally like individual bowling better. And the reason is, like, I always have, like, in my head, I feel like it's all about me making a mistake. And if I make a mistake, at least it's on me and it's not for the team.
Right.
But when you make a mistake for the team, you just let 7 other guys down. And like,
it hurts a little more.
Yeah, it stings. It definitely stings. So like, I think for that reason, I would much rather be an individual competitor. And don't get me wrong, like, I like team bowling, like nationals, collegiate bowling, just local tournaments, your double events. I love it. Like, I love hanging out with some guys and enjoying my time. But I don't like the idea of if I throw one bad shot and it costs us something. I hate that idea wholeheartedly. Luckily, that hasn't happened too many times, but I just don't like the feeling of being that guy. Nice shot right there again by Jacob. Making a run, being the 17th bowler.
Big shot coming up for him. They get to the 230s. Stippage.
It's an alright start for him. Or, well, about to finish, but 53 over for 4 is not too bad.
He's in a good, very good position. 8. Bryce Oliver trying to get to it, trying to get to the number. Here's Mullen, though.
Ooh. Just missed it. Great shot.
You know what? I just realized it might not have been junior gold I'm thinking of. I realized, I know I saw him at team trials.
Okay. Yeah. I think he was making a run there, too.
Yeah, he was.
You know, another thing that I find fascinating is like how competitive all these kids are. A lot of these guys you'll see at team trials, and they're putting their money up, well, money, whatever you call it, to bowl against the professionals or the top amateur adult bowlers in our country. And these kids are all willing to bowl against them. You know, spend a week to go bowl against them, try to see how they compete. And, you know, I think that there's a correlation between that and coming in here and bowling against your peers again. Right. You become so much better, sharper, smarter. I think that's like another wonderful part is being able to bowl against those adults. Is it helps you learn more, too.
226 for Jacob. Got a pitch question actually from Wayne. How is your do you use your thumb?
I do, all the way.
How's your thumb hole pitched?
Does this guy know me at all?
Yeah, he might.
Because for a while, and this might sound odd, and if you know pitches, you understand it, I was 7/8 forward in my thumb. And my thumb was really tight. I had a couple pieces of tape. It was snug getting in. I backed off a little bit from that, but 7/8 is quite a bit for even a one-handed bowler. And I guess I either had a lot of flexibility or just I felt like it was wiggling too much. And now I think I backed off. I think it's an 1/8 away and 1/8 right or something like that. But if you knew me for the 3 years or so when I had it, it was 7/8. I backed off a little bit, backed off a little more. And right now I completely backed off from the forward pitch. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I tried something a little different. I feel like I like it. So for right now, we'll stick with it and see what happens.
Tough ending to what was certainly a great game by Jonathan Clear. He'll shoot 218, and we are now officially in game 5. Final game before match play begins. Who's going to advance?
I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm nervous for all these guys. I'm looking at these scores and I'm looking at what they're at and how close they are. I need Game 4 to update quickly, so I really know where we're at here.
I mean, take me through and take the viewers through, you know, what the players might be feeling. Certainly those, you know, if you're in the number, I guess, because there's a few situations, right? You're comfortably in, and maybe you're in the top 4, top 5. You know, but you know, for example, with a potential Team USA spot on the line.
Yeah.
So there's that situation. Then there's the kind of middle of the pack, maybe 8th through 12th, let's say. And, you know, you're in good position, but, you know, if you happen to struggle Game 5, it could knock you out of the top 16. And then obviously 13 through, you know, however many players have the opportunity potentially or mathematically to make the cut.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
I mean, I've seen it all. Like, I've been in every single scenario, either trying to get in the cut, stay in the cut. So I mean, let's go with 2 scenarios. Let's go with the in, and then let's go with the chasing to get in.
Okay.
So I think the guys that are in, you know, it's damage control. It's controlling your environment. If you're in the top 16 and it looks like you're going to be in soft, if that pattern is hard and it's not playing in your favor, I think the thing you got to be thinking about is just managing your score and not trying to shoot yourself in the foot and shoot 160 to even drop yourself out of the top 16, because you're in for a decent number. But if you're close to the top 4 and you have a chance, you know, try to push for it a little more, but don't let it get to you, because you still have an opportunity. If you make the TV show, you still have an opportunity to make Team USA from there.
That's true.
So there's multiple opportunities,
right.
So you can't let the one little thing get to you. And so the number chasers, say it's the number to the cut or the number for Team USA, you know you got to go for it. Like, especially if you're out of the cut, even though you got to go through the motions, you got to go for something. Because if you're trying to beat the dead horse and you're trying to play one spot and it's not working, now you're costing yourself frames, and every frame counts going towards the end. Like right now, these guys have 7 frames on 29 and 30 to make a difference, whether it's going to be the cut or Team USA. And so hopefully in the beginning they went for it and they had an idea and it's working in their favor, but you never let your guard down and you keep it going. And I think those are the 2 different perspectives to success in those situations. I mean, no offense to whoever the 64th guy may be, but whoever 64 is, he's probably 90 to 100 out, and you know you got to go for it no matter what. Now we know it's hard. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Right now, looking at it, you're 80 out. It's a tougher pattern. You probably still need plus 80 to 120 to get yourself in the number, because you don't even know. There could be guys that are still doing good that are ahead of you. So now you're chasing for something well above what you had. So it's just different mindset in different situations, I guess. No one's safe. I guess Martel is the safest one. He was the safest one,
right,
being first, and he had a big lead even over second. I think for him, 16th was no question. That was in. And right now for him, it's top 4 and staying in this last game and trying to at least probably get out with 180, 190 to stay ahead of the 4th guy.
Yeah, really a tale of two blocks for Mike. And I think that's bowling. Kind of, in a way, kind of summed up a little bit as well. How about that?
Good pickup.
I look down to my left and to my right. One pair moving to the 10th frame. It is, let's see, it's Martel and Nate Stubler, Brusniak, Quinchihi over there. Can't see who is still in game 4 over on the left side of the house.
I see a left-hander. I don't know. No, maybe not. I'm wrong. Yeah, he's right-handed. I got it wrong. Just thinking we get another lefty on the pair. if we had heart rate monitors on these guys, I'd wonder what their heart rate's at right now, whether they're calm or nervous. Because if I was in this situation, my heart rate probably be well over 140. I'd beat it as hard as I can.
Bryce Oliver. Bryce has been kind of fighting on every shot, and that's because he entered game number 4 in 11th. Had a couple mentions of Tony Lambert from Louisville, Kentucky, in regards to two-handed bowlers who have been at it for a while.
Another strike by Bryce.
You just saw it there on your screen. He's going to get to 211. And right now, I'm pretty sure they're in game number 5. He was 17 under this round. So you get to -6 on the day, which would, or I should say on this round. I don't know what he shot in game number 4. A shot there from Ryan Winters. And his coach watching it, Sean Walkner in the building. A lot of collegiate coaches, of course, this week. Big recruiting week.
Yes.
Wow. Hopefully that's not a
costly pin right there.
Yeah, man. Goodness gracious. All right, 210 for Bryce. And he's in the clubhouse at 7 under.
It was cool actually because I was at, like I said, I was at DeSoto for the 4 days, and one of the things I noticed is all the collegiate coaches just watching either their players or their future prospects. And college bowling recruiting is getting big now. About how many coaches are now here, whether it's for a couple of days or the whole week. It's awesome to see like how much interest they have in these kids and how much these kids have grown over time for them to have interest in college as well.
It's pretty amazing. I recall knowing for sure that all I wanted to do collegiately was bowl. I just wanted to bowl collegiately. There was no question about it. And at the time, there was the situation was utilized really on collegebowling.com. And it's Jacob Kirsten finishing things out. Open there, 193. Andrew Lazarchik. Greek Church and the 10th frame. All right, so we started with Michael Martell, and we will end with Michael Martell along with Justin O'Shaughnessy, it looks like. Okay, back to that story, which I don't remember now what I was saying.
College bowling and recruiting?
Yes, thank you. So collegebowling.com was kind of the place to be recruited. There was a recruit section, and you know, each would-be prospective student athlete would drop a few paragraphs about themselves, the average, what they wanted to major in, future goals, you know, 300s, 800s, etc. And you know, you can essentially hope for a call. A shot there from Ryan Burton. You'd hope for a call of some kind of communication. It's an interesting, it's so interesting how things have obviously, I would say, gotten better.
Yeah.
There's more opportunity to be noticed. I think a little bit of an easier access as well now. So if you'd like to reach out and express interest,
yep,
you can do that too. Lopez.
Nice shot there.
All right, 3 in a row for Lopez, 3 in a row for Ryan Winters, 3 in a row for Ryan Burton. Wow. Another quality shot there from Chad Steven.
Oh boy.
That's got a hook.
Oh. Man, this guy's got a fan club back here, and that ball, man, that went far.
Well, Ryan Burton is, again, and we should have the final or the next score update pretty soon now that everyone is into Game 5. He was in 6th, heading into Game 4.
So he's making a run right now at the
he's making a run
USA.
At the team in the top 4, and his ball is making a run. I mean, because his ball's coming back from places that I guess only maybe you would know about, since we're talking about the left side right now.
Not in this case. I don't think my ball would come there if that was me. It would have been in the ditch at 30 feet. That's awesome. I wonder if he was worried at all when that shot came off his hand.
Here's a better angle for it, folks. Didn't get to as far left in the channel. Roll it, roll it. Oh, it's working. It's working for Ryan Burton right now. 5 in a row.
Stellar shot right there.
And this is what we're talking about, folks. This is it's kind of what Wes described at this point. I mean, everyone's going for something. And I think, as you mentioned, even if you are 64th currently, even just having the goals of wanting to, believing in something, trying to achieve whatever that goal is for that last game, you got to go after it, or, like you said earlier, going through the motions doesn't really get you anything. Chad Steven, 9th frame. Well, this left lane has been troublesome for Chad. Left the big 4 here, high again, 310. Someone asked about Brandon Dodge earlier in Orange Pants. That is indeed him. Finishing up on 25 and 26. All right, so what we won't have for these final games are the player totals. One, because they started, of course, before all the scores were in. Couldn't all rotate. So after this frame, we'll let these gentlemen finish out the 9th and 10th. We'll allow them to have the show here. Ryan Winters will give you a quick score look, though. Here's their scores. Break there for Lopez in the 9th. Good look at aerial view of Justin O'Shaughnessy. Still playing right, too. And just leaves a 4-pin.
I wonder if any of these bowlers know that they're bowling on the same pair they started on. Now for the right side, it might be a little different. There's probably gonna be some transition, but some of the lefties, you know, there's still gonna be a little transition. But like, I wonder if we ask Martel where he ends up finishing at this game compared to where he finished the game before, see how much he had moved or how much it's changed. Nice shot there.
Let's check in on Chad Steven. Chad was in 3rd. Oh, look at it. watch it peel. Just watch it peel.
What a shot.
I mean, my goodness.
I'm curious to know what bowling ball this is. Doesn't look like a solid color to me.
And it's definitely not. It's a cool looking color though. I have no idea what that is. Chad Steven trying to save 184. Burton.
Oh.
He didn't flirt with the channel.
That's probably why I didn't strike.
That didn't get to 2-1 or 2. That was at like, just kind of hung around at 4. Oh, what a game. What a finish for Ryan Burton. Unsure where that's going to put him. Let me write that score down so we get the next update. Of course, you didn't bring your bag out here this time. No, I'll keep a note of it in the old phone. Nicely done, though. Both Chad Steven and Ryan Burton were in the top 5, really in the top 4, I should say. Coming into game 4. Again, we're just awaiting the new update after scores are complete, or excuse me, some of the pairs have moved into game 5. And then we'll check in at with Michael Martell. In fact, let's check in now. Looks like we've got to wait on some deadwood. Still got more bowling for you tonight, folks, so don't forget that. Match play begins tonight. And about 2.5 hours from now. Wes, I gotta ask you, since you spent so many years competing, you've had a chance to watch today, specifically this round. I mean, have you, I know it's different being on this side of it, but did you kind of get some of the same feelings as when you watch like Ryan Burton, for example?
Yeah, I think when he threw those strikes in the back half, it gave me the chills. You know, this guy just, based off of what we've seen on the numbers, he just locked himself on a Junior Team USA, and like, there's no better feeling. Like, to know you're on Junior Team USA for this next year, and to say your name's in history for the rest of your life, like, that's awesome. And I hope he went back there, gave his parents a big hug, and whoever his supporters are, because right now, looking at it, he's in and on team. It's different looking, though. It's different watching.
Ryan Winters, good shot. Let's see where Ryan was. Is Mitchell? All you got to do is ball's just got to touch. It doesn't matter how it goes down. Ryan Winters was 45th. After 3 in this round. Struggling a little bit. Someone mentioned Blake Ernest. He struggled a little bit after the first 3 games as well. Christian Lopez shoots 211 to finish it out. Christian just sat down at the table. You can see it kind of the bottom right of your screen. Sat down, just kind of put his hands in his head briefly. And there's a lot of emotion that he's able to exhale, and then you also kind of think about perhaps what could have been. It was right there. I've been there too. I think we've all been there, you know, in that situation.
I believe everybody has some point in their time. You know, for a lot of these guys, though, they're fairly young, so it's a learning experience, and to be here is already good enough. Not good. Well, it's not going to be good enough for them, but if they look back on it, it was definitely They bowled well. It was a good experience. And, you know, just learn from it. Go to the next year.
All right, all done on 29 and 30. So Martell, Justin O'Shaughnessy, and Mitchell Rusniak, and Stephen Faulkner to end things for us here in the final advancers round. We get a new scoreboard look to end things here.
You can tell in this last shot, O'Shaughnessy really wanted it with that 4-pin. He knows the number. He knows where he's got to get to.
We talk about that a lot on tour. And like how the players, you know, maybe if they don't look at the score, which some don't, but you just kind of have an idea of what you need to get to. Like, is that just like it's one of those things when you're in the moment, you're in the competition, you kind of have a general idea based on either what you're hearing or what other people are doing?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys and a lot of the girls, they know. They have some sort of idea. Someone said something, but I mean, there's those few bowlers that say, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to know. I just expect to bowl good enough where it doesn't matter, and it messes with them. I mean, it messes with everybody, but obviously they're the number crunchers that need to know. And there's the people that kind of hear it and they say, okay, I got to get this score, this game kind of deal. It is crazy how everyone copes with it differently. They all think differently on what they need to do. We have about 3 pairs left. They're all in about the 4th frame. Making that purple hammer look real good this game.
Haven't seen him throw any other balls.
Is that what he threw this morning?
I think so.
That's the ball he's going to want to frame up for the rest of his life. Nice shot by Justin.
Mullen still at it. Well, there's one thing we don't know. Well, I guess a couple things. Something seemed to get off track in Game 4 of this round, and those are the scores that we're missing. And at this point, not updated, so that would mean we probably won't see the official update until after all the scores have been turned in and complete. So it's going to be a waiting game for some.
Oh, nice break. Nice break for Mitchell right there. I think that's a terrible feeling too, just having to wait to find out the score. If you know you're around the number and you don't know exactly where you're at, or if you didn't bowl a big enough game and you're like, oh, please let me be that number, let me be that last guy in. That is just a terrible feeling during this wait game. Close. Jake Mullen with the strike down there. I think he knows he's going to need a big game.
Cameron Crowe as well. He was 15th after 3 games in this round.
From here it looks like he has 102 in the 7th.
Missed a few things in the chat, but looks like everyone is A-okay at the moment. By the way, let's see. John Saunders said the two-handed bowler you alluded to earlier was Joey. Oh, you said that, right? Joey Berardi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Ah, there you go. There's another historian. He was probably curious too,
Yeah.
or he knew.
He knew. He said not only did he know, he coached him.
Really?
Originally from the Bronx,
Yeah.
coached him at 12 years old. Triple Crown winner, of course, Hall of Fame 1990. How many 300s this week? 4.
Is there like a record kept about how many 300s or 800s have been shot at this event?
Man,
like each year?
I should. I think that is somewhere. I don't recall what those numbers are. I feel like we had a few more last year.
Did we? Okay.
I feel like we did. But all the, but it seems like 300s are. If you shoot a 300 junior gold,
I think that's pretty impressive.
it just feels like it. And I didn't even do it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine shooting 300
No.
at this term.
No, not at all. Especially with how difficult the patterns are all the time. It's hard. I don't think I'd ever done it. I've bowled multiple games at this tournament. Jake Mullen, big strike.
I'm almost positive this is how I recognized Jake when he was making this run at team trials. I could hear him.
Yeah.
Very intense to himself, though.
Looks like a big strike for Cameron. You can see it in the monitor in the corner.
Yeah, they're going at it down there.
Yeah, they know. They have a pretty good idea of where they're at and what they need.
They're both of them are close. And as we said before, again, prior to game 4, Jacob was 17 and Cameron was 16. Stephen Faulkner went plus a lot this morning. I think a plus $150 or so.
Ooh, look, 1-2 by Jacob.
And from what I understand, too, Michael and Justin, too, Robert Morris, Illinois bowlers.
I know Michael is. Justin, I feel like he has a brother, because the name sounds familiar, but he doesn't look too familiar to me. But I could be wrong.
Well, you know, try to go check the roster, so it wasn't there. Well, I shouldn't say that because there wasn't. But I think I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking.
Yeah.
There wasn't O'Shaughnessy on their team because we joked. I saw him at a tournament that I would call him Oshak Hennessy based on the Key and Peele skit.
Yeah. That's my favorite. Substitute teacher.
John Clear and who else is finishing up down there?
Alec Dudley, I believe.
Alec Dudley, indeed. Justin does bowl varsity with Robert Morris. Brittany Brown has confirmed that for us.
Okay. Nice 3-pin off the wall.
Those two able to potentially share a very, very important moment in their young career, something Michael is already experiencing with Junior Team USA. And the way it's looking, Justin will have that same opportunity. Mitch was in the discussion. He was nearby in 27th, trying to get to the top 16 for match play. Tonight, folks, not only will we have U20 boys, but we'll have U20 girls also. Match play rounds. We'll have 2 rounds tonight. One at 7:30, and then, of course, theoretically 8:30. And then our night will end. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. Whew. Nothing like a back-to-back 7:30 a.m. start.
You could feel bad for the kid who had 7:30 a.m. yesterday, 7:30 a.m. today, and potentially 7:30 a.m. tomorrow.
That's just, I mean, it's good news.
Yeah.
At the end
That's
of
true
it.
too, though.
It's good news if you're bowling at 7:30 a.m. in the last 2 days.
Yep. As much as you hate it,
Yeah.
at least you're in.
David Hooper, Hayden Stippich, Blake Ernest, and Marcus McCray finishing up on 35 and 36.
He's got a little bit of crowd going for him.
Shout out to Matt Farber. Watching. Appreciate it. Team USA member, his own right.
Nice shot by Michael. Adult and junior team.
Adult and junior.
He's made it out of Junior Team USA out of this tournament.
He's got himself a gold medal. A couple of them.
Yep.
I'm specifically thinking about the World of Youth recently, which, of course, you'll be looking forward to at the end of this month.
Yeah. Detroit next week. We all leave Tuesday for another chance. Hopefully, hopefully we get. Hopefully we can get the four-peat. That's no small task by any means.
Appreciate everyone joining us. Wrapping up essentially our afternoon session. It'll be a few hours prior to match play beginning. I mentioned the U20 girls will join us.
Whoa. Will the other guys be here for live stream, or do we cover both U20 girls and boys?
We will have both boys and girls, and theoretically, what should happen is we'll have a girls pair on 29 and 30, and the boys will be on 27 and 28. And we'll catch everyone that comes our way.
16 matches. I can't wait.
Well, 180. Again, folks, the schedule for the rest of the weekend. I guess there's not much of it left. With today being Friday, we'll have round 3 match play tomorrow. The Youth Open actually gets underway yet again. The bowling.com Youth Open. There'll be squads at 8, 12, 4, 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. That'll be happening at City View Lanes. The Survivor Tournament will have squads at AMF Garland tomorrow from at 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. Then we'll have, I skipped round 4, 8:30 in regards to match play here at USA Bowl and at Forum. We'll have it at 9:30 with round 5 and round 6 at 11. Taping schedule at the ITRC. If you are local, want to check out some of the greatest youth bowlers around, compete for national titles. U12 boys and girls at 9 a.m. Then USA Bowling U12 at 11:30. 2:30, the third taping for U15 USA Bowling, and then U15 girls and boys at 5 p.m. Junior Gold, followed by U20 girls and boys 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. 2:13 for Mike.
Good way to close the qualifying round out. Pins drop though. Start over at 7:30.
I know things were a little bit tougher for him this afternoon because he put the herd down earlier. They going 200 plus. Justin O'Shaughnessy gets a nice hand clap. He makes the spare. All eyes on 27 and 28. Got some camera phones out. O'Shaughnessy. Nice embrace there from the teammates and friends. And Boho coming over to what we certainly would presume would be a congratulatory hug. One could only think about that.
That's a moment right there.
I assume that would be, you just can't see, it's actually right in front of the scoreboard. The embrace there from Justin and who we think might be his dad.
That's a moment. They'll remember that one forever. I think the family's giving their round of hugs they know. He's on Junior Team USA for 2019. Way to close it out for Steven.
All right, Stephen Faulkner closes things out for us. 184. Mitchell shoots 193.
Please hang around. The results will be out.
So I'm going to double check to see if, I assume that we're going to have some numbers to announce. So I'm going to double check that and I'll be right back. In fact, we'll be right back. Double check it, we'll be right back and we'll let you know either way. Back in a moment.
Justin, you got to fill out your bowling balls. Scouts are free to change, so why didn't you tell us?
Smile for the camera. Smile for the camera.
I'm definitely going to be sitting there for a while. I do. You have to give me a hug. Thank you. Only 220, 240. You know it's great. This game went high, we never hit each other. Until the match that was on the show. We hit each other at the end of the loser bracket. Or at the end of the winner's bracket. The winner gets the first seed and the loser gets the second seed. So we never have to, even if one of us, obviously one of us wins one seed, we both select. That's my second bracket. Fuck, right? Match play, I think we haven't sit for second. Last year I went to Pitt.
It was at 7:30, but we're behind.
I don't know. Last year, I literally went to Run Robin in Edinburgh. All right, we gotta take pictures because I need to post it on.
All right, after the U20 boys division competing in the annual round number 2, we do have our top 16 athletes. Moving on to match play. That'll take place this evening at 7:30 p.m. Our number 1 qualifier.
Hi, Bibas.
Michael Martell for 57-16. Our number 2 qualifier, Justin O'Shaughnessy, 56-50. Our number 3 qualifier, Ryan Burton, 55-85. Number 4, Chad Stevens, 35-70. Number 5, Kenan McFalls, 55-34. Number 6, Cortez Shank, 55-21. Our number 7 qualifier, Bryce Oliver, 54-95. Number 8, Hayden Stippich, 54-78. Number 9, Anthony Nyer, 54-59. Number 10, David Hooper, 54-51. Number 11, Jacob Mullen, 54-39. Number 12, Nathan Stubler, 54-25. Number 13, Joseph Grondin, 54-22. Number 14, Cameron Crowe, 54-12. Our number 15 qualifier, Gage Stelling, 54-08. And our 16th qualifier, advancing to tonight's match play with a score of 53-99, Harry Wagle. Congratulations to our 16 athletes competing in tonight's match play competition. As a reminder, we will begin match play at 7
7:30 p.m. Check-in will begin at 6:30 p.m. Everybody, have a safe couple hours, and we'll see you back here for match
Time
play
to
this evening.
start. Can we get food? I need food.
This is like 24. Alright, ready?
I need like a steak there.
All right, folks, there you have it. You heard Zach Barden. Cut was Harry Weigel. Actually, just missed the number.
Thank you! I ripped my shirt! Oh my god! I had to buy a shirt. Let me see it. Oh, it's over my bag. Was it on camera? No.
Dang it! I wanted to see you fry.
All right, 53.99 again was the number, and that belonged to Harry Weigel. So we've got our 16 U20 boys. Competition will begin at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Please join us here. All standings updates will be made at this point. Actually, we wanted to get the number announced so the players know what's happening. And there you have it. So we'll see you at 7:30 p.m. Wesley and I will be back with you. So for everyone here at USA Bowl and the entire staff at Junior Gold Championships, I'm Emil Williams Jr. See you in a bit. Match play, 7:30 p.m. Central here on Bowl TV. This has been a presentation of the Junior Gold Championships presented by the Brands of Ebonite International.